Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Conciliar Radio. I am your host, TLM Ryan. Joined with me today, Sede Picante Esquire Edition. And I have as everybody knows, we are late. We had to find the dog. I have a new co-host. That's the older dog. So we've got old Grumpy here to discuss what I think everybody wants to discuss, because for the past week, Sede Inc. and Trad Inc. have been fighting. Again, no minds have been changed. Everybody's tired of talking about it. So we're going to come to a common enemy that even the Jesuits despise, which is Dan, I don't know, Sevigny? How do you say it, Picante?
I say Savigny, but I'm very American.
Yeah.
Whenever
Dan Savigny, who is, if nobody knows this, should we do a little background for people who don't know? I think people who are tuned in here kind of get the inside scoop already, but because there'll be new people listening to this, we'll do the history and then we'll go over why he's being sued. We'll take a look at the lawsuits. We'll have a little fun with that. But before we do that, a little housekeeping. Nothing that you hear today is legal advice. I need to say that so I don't get in trouble. And everything that you hear today, we have good and faithful reason to believe is true. So that should cover us for defamation. We're not going to be like Nick Cavazos that says it every 5 seconds. So a defamation suit requires that you know something to be false and you still say it. Everything we're going to talk about today, we believe is true. Some of them are, of course, allegations not proved in court. That's the disclaimer. You won't hear me say it again. So don't try and sue me, Dan. It ain't happening. By the way, Dan can't sue anybody because he's going to spend too much money on defense lawyers at this point. So, and he can't pay anybody anyways. He's being sued because he can't pay anybody, and now he's got to find money to pay more lawyers. And trust me, lawyers are expensive. So, all right, backstory. If you didn't catch Sede Picante's show, I highly recommend it. It's puppet style. He's come out of his puppet closet for today's show, but he had a great puppet show on the entire drama. I first heard about so Dan, he owns this place called Sanctus Ranch in Texas, and I first heard about it on Anthony Stein's show, and it was all presented via Anthony Stein as if this was some traditionalist TLMer guy and his bishop, who's like one of the worst bishops, not just in America but in the church. One of his bishop basically like told anybody who's Catholic in the diocese, you can't go there, tried to shut him down. And so it was presented as this is just more persecution of the traditional movement. And that's how I first heard of it. Picante, I didn't even know when you were doing your show that was the same ranch. It hit me halfway through. I'm like, wait, there's another religious ranch in Texas that's run by Catholics?
It helps that he rebranded the entire event in 2000, or the ranch in 2022. Yeah. The ranch he started in 2016.
Oh, it's that old.
Yeah. So, I mean, he says 2016. I thought he said elsewhere 2014. But it is actually significantly older, which is why when I did my show, I showed content from 2020 because it's a very different Dan Savigny at that time. Even when he was grifting during that time, he was asking for 15s and 20s of dollars, not millions.
Not 5,000 to be a founding member.
Yes.
I'm in a group chat with a guy who paid that,
Really?
which is crazy because we interact all the time. I didn't know, and so I was kind of like shitting on like, oh, what idiot would do this? And then he was like, I did it. I'm like, oh, you're so funny. He's like, no, I legitimately did it. I'm like, you seem so normal. Like I could just never have imagined a person giving away $5,000 who wasn't just off their rocker. But he said, lesson learned. But anyways, yeah, Dan Savigny has apparently been around for a while, and if you watch Sede Picante's show, this guy was like, I don't know what flavor of Catholic he was. Like, I mean, I grew up non-denominational. All the clips you showed just gave me like PTSD. So what is that? Charismatic?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was, the whole thing where like they strum the guitar and they're like, Lord, let us give thanks. Yeah. It was straight out of Righteous Gemstones. That's what it was. It's about as entertaining as Righteous Gemstones too, which we'll get into.
So my education was at Franciscan University from 2008 to like 2013. And so I was knee deep in the charismatics around me. And I was part of the priestly formation program for much of that time. And we had mandatory praise and worship sessions. So like the whole idea, like I couldn't go without doing it against my will for 3 years of my time there. So seeing it, I was like, oh, we're back at home, buddy. We're back with the charismatics. It's amazing.
You knew it as soon as you saw it. Okay, interesting. By the way, this show is sponsored by Suits and Martinis. That was the theme for today's show. Picante came up with it. But he drank all his martinis beforehand, so now he's just sipping whiskey out of a wine glass. So we went from classy to a little trashy, but here we are. Okay, so Sede P, do you want to give them the Cliff Notes version of your show and what's been going on here at Sanctus Ranch? 5 minutes, and then we'll get to the lawsuits.
Okay. The too long did not read is in 2024, the bishop, January of that month, shut them down completely, citing they had priests without canonical mission and that they could not use the name Catholic. What had happened prior to that point was Dan Savigny had turned the business around from pretty much losing everything during COVID, because COVID is really bad for hospitality business. I work professionally in hospitality, and it was very devastating for us. And Dan Savigny claims he lost up to $500,000 during this time and the pressure from the bishop. During 2022, the Spiritual Retreat Foundation, which was the old name of Sanctus Ranch, now Restoring Christian Culture Initiative, they rebranded themselves to look to the internet to get more money, essentially. And what they learned is that they could double their income. So from 2022, they made almost no money. By 2024, under the persecution of the bishop, they pulled in $1 million.
So the persecution was assisting?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Yeah, this was all framed as like, oh, he came down and he's the one who cost us money. But what you're saying is it was COVID. It wasn't the bishop.
Well, the bishop caused all the Catholic contracts because they were a retreat center.
Right.
And they were booked most weekends of the entire year. So they were raising a good amount of money doing that. Once the bishop put the kibosh on that, he claims he's lost $500,000 from that. They threatened to sue the bishop, apparently, or they said on one of the websites that they would consider it. Mm-hmm. I don't know whatever happened with that, because I think if they did, it would have
popped up.
Yeah. So the way I present the story is that Dan figured out, by appealing to the culture war, which, as we all know, as fans of his former Pope Miss Francis, was really high during 2019 and onward. Mm-hmm. That's when it had escalated, and all the trads were done with him. The last 4 or 5 years of his pontificate. Again, I'm a Sede Picante, don't believe he's a pope, but speaking for the vernacular, right? So because of that, and there's now this negative press, especially following people like Anthony Stein's Return to Tradition, which is still a fantastic show. I watch it occasionally.
If you want to get depressed.
Yes. But they went and promoted Dan Savigny, because Dan Savigny told these people, like, hey, I'm just being unjustly put the kibosh on. And Dan Savigny pretty much came out as a traditionalist after he was a charismatic. And everybody bought it, and they funneled money into him. Well, as the story goes, in 2025, he holds a big gala event, and he proclaims that we've done it. We've made the $1 million. We helped all the Counseled Priests Coalition. And then he immediately turned around and asked for $1.325 million. I mean, no, $3.125 million. He says, this is our next 3-step program to finish paying everything off. And this raised a lot of alarm bells. And as we're going to see in the lawsuits, 2025 is a pivotal year because a lot of stuff comes due, and a lot of people start to realize, hey, maybe these $3 million he's asking for is something else.
Yeah, and then interlaced with that, he founded, I believe founded is the correct term, but he starts up Pelican Plus.
Yeah, October of that year.
Right, which was funny because when I think it was my first time ever being a guest on anybody's podcast. It was yours with James, and you asked me, what did I think about Pelican Plus? I had no freaking idea. I mean, I knew that somebody had started something. I had no idea. And I was like, why are all the trads, to use a very broad term, why are all the trads squawking about Pelican Plus? Like, I didn't get it. And that's kind of what I told you. I was like, I mean, I guess like if it makes money, it makes money. You guys figured something out.
Well, I, like a lot of people had thought, and even Cavazos Anabate said this. I thought when this was announced, he had some sweetheart deal, some angel investor, and they were going to burn through $1 million just sucking up all the content creators. So I thought, being in the opposition camp, that this was going to be the end of my free content reign because I'm an A-logger, so I use other people's content. So if I have to pay for content now, what's the point? Like, this is ridiculous.
You were threatened. And now one of your best shows is about how they crashed and burned. Okay, so to wrap this all up, we started hearing rumors that things weren't going well at Pelican Plus. And if you watch Anthony Abate's show, he pretty much just divulged what happened because Dan pulled all these guys in and pitched them an idea for Pelican Plus. Abate, in his words, says, well, I thought he would have had a few million in investors, just like you thought. I mean, anybody thinks that. If you're going to do a startup, you have to have investors. They didn't have any investors. And somehow these numbnuts, half of them bought it and they still went for it. Now, I watched Nick Cavazos' show. Nick, if you guys don't know, Nick released a video, I think this morning, basically divulging the whole story. It's not very interesting, but and he gives a ton of legal disclaimers. But
we do need to say one thing. He has a friend who likes somebody. I think that's who we're talking about in that video. So there could have been more of this secret romance.
We got to go over that one too. But just to give like the financial picture here. So Nick even said in his video that he was slightly concerned when he found out that there were no investors. Now, I got to give credit to Nick on this, as he's like, well, what do I have to lose? Like, I don't even have a fan. Like, I have, if it fails, it fails. So for Nick, it makes sense. I have no idea why these people, these older YouTubers decided to go over, like Kennedy Hall. Like, dude, there's no way I'm putting faith in some guy that can't. Because here's the thing. If you can't convince an investor who wants to make money that your idea will eventually make you money, I wouldn't bet my family on it. So that's what I always say about people who talk about the Nova Sordo. I'm like, if it was a stock, would you put money in it? It's been declining for 60 years. And if you wouldn't trust your money with it, why would you trust your soul with it?
I agree with that 100%. That's why I hold Bitcoin. Like, people who don't put their money where their mouth is really weird. But I think Kennedy Hall did believe that they could make a run with it. And that actually scared me. That scared me. I thought that we had the Trad Inc. idea. I thought that was settled in stone. I thought he was going to eat every single sub 100,000 content creator.
Return to tradition, Pelican Plus. Apparently, he was offered it. He was offered
Brian
it.
Holdsworth, Anthony Abate, they were all offered it.
Yeah. Not us. Okay, so that's pretty much okay. So to wrap it up, then a bunch of people start leaving Pelican Plus. Nick left first, and the rumors started going. And look, at this point, they're not rumors because it's public record. We're going to get to that in a second when we go over the lawsuits. But all the stories were consistent. all the stories showed that Dan was pretty scummy, would take money, not pay it back, was very controlling all the time. Like Sede P, I think you said in your show, you're like, this screams cult. It's a religious ranch in Texas. I mean, that's all you got to say. But Dan really fit the bill. Everybody is saying the same thing. But the funny thing about him is, just listening to Nick and his management style, yes, it screams cult because he was super controlling and wouldn't let them use their own personal media accounts, like social media. But it's just dumb, man. Like, if like, I didn't think you could get a worse social media CEO than Jeremy Boring at the Daily Wire, but Dan has managed to top Jeremy, which is pretty hard to do. Jeremy killed his cash cow in Candace and then spent the rest of Daily Wire's soon-to-be short existence screaming about Candace. And Dan, in his magnificent leadership, basically hired a bunch of people to make him content and then tried to control everything they made. So it's like, well, then, Dan, why don't you just make your own channel at that point? It sounds horrible. Honestly, and if people don't know, he's now stepped down as CEO.
So there is a comment though about his character, which is highly interesting. On a show they did, they were celebrating getting 2,000 views on YouTube, on their podcast. 2,000 views, nobody in the world cares about. Like, there's shows that are worse than this show that will get 10,000 views. It's people just watch stuff. He on a show said that, and I realized he's new to this. He's actually unaware of how this all works. Like, I've been podcasting for 3 years. I deleted the first year and a half. During those years, I made tons of mistakes. I had to delete content because I made mistakes. Dan Savigny is green at this, and he's then starts a supposed $1 million business or something in an area he's not an expert in.
Yeah, and so if you aren't, so it's funny because Nick Cavazos is this huge Civil War buff, and I don't know, my algorithm's just been feeding me like Robert E. Lee stuff all day. But it reminded me of this because Robert E. Lee, if you don't know, his command style was totally different than like Grant's or most other generals. He basically would give general orders to his corps commanders, and then he would say, if practicable, meaning he gave them tons of discretion to be flexible on the battlefield. That's what you got to do. That's the type of leader you need in this space as a CEO. You can't be so controlling. I mean, he would literally lambast Nick for, in private chats, suggesting different thumbnails. Just ridiculous stuff. Saying that they couldn't tweet anything unless they got approval from him. I don't know why people just didn't quit at that point, because if that's the leadership style you've got for a creative endeavor, that's to your point. So what you're saying is he was excited about 2,000 views on a video?
Yes, he was excited like he was a teenager. It's something that you can't wrap your head around if you've actually done important things. We went through a big lawsuit at one point, and it was like, the people who are suing our family was like, pay back $1 million. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm a compulsive spender. What does $10,000 look like, let alone $1 million? But Dan Savigny is trying to run $1 million+ business, which is supposed to feed a few dozen families off of $7 a month subscriptions. Make it make sense. That putting it in those lights, I need to see the numbers before you'd ever sign up.
Right.
That's why.
The more I learn about it, because everybody's kind of going after him for being scummy, which probably is, and certainly these lawsuits will show it. But I was like, he just kind of sounds like he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yes.
He sounds kind of a moron when it comes to, even just because I know he's got a school and stuff like that too. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. You said he was making money with the hospitality, so maybe he just ventured into an area that he didn't know what to do, and maybe he's not a complete idiot. But everything that I learned from the way he manages the school, all that, he doesn't sound like he knows how to do proper leadership.
So in hospitality, half of everything is literally you just doing it. You literally have to go make all the beds. You have to strip it all down. You got to get all so
he's a micromanager at heart.
Yeah, but if you look at him, he's a fat dude. It's got to be a pain to actually do that business.
Yeah.
And so like and then the way he did a video once, right? And he was there with the Kennedy Hall, Kwasniewski, Rundis, and someone else, Flanders. And they would switch between their camera positions, and it was not set up properly. Like you could tell visibly, he reached about right here, and where my hand is, that's where the top of his head was in the setup. And
Oh,
you
no.
looked at it like, this is a media company. This is supposed to be worth millions of dollars, I would imagine.
Yeah, man. Did you see the new CEO's video?
No.
It was bad, man. Like, I don't want to be mean, but like the guy has glasses which one is clear, like, so one eye clearly doesn't see as good as the other. So the glasses, one is like hyper magnified, and he's clearly reading from like a piece of paper, and his forehead is like in the screen, but it looks like he only has one eye. And nobody thought, just take the glasses off. Like, I have contact lenses in right now, but I could do the show without it. Like, I don't need to. You know, it was so bad. So they're like, "Oh, you know, we're gonna be so successful now." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but again, there was no reason for him to be in that video. Kennedy Hall, who's the same age as me, he always acts like he's this big, tough dude. He always sits upright and talks down to his audience. Have him sit in the middle of the seat. Like, he literally had enough talent that if he just moved it around or used it properly, he should have been able to do something good. And this is just, it just is the repeating story is he's unable to know what he should be doing. Yeah. And everybody says that he has a bad mouth and a bad attitude.
Any good CEO has to know like what their role is and what's not. All right. I got a request for co-host number 2 to pop up on screen. So I'll do that. And then we'll get into the lawsuits.
Do you have a second camera on the dog? There are literal streamers who have a second camera on their dog.
I am not that good. I got this idea from, who's that continuity type? Wagner and his fish. I'm like, we need TLM. So this is Bennett, named after Miss Elizabeth Bennett, which I did catch that. I did catch that joke. All right, there's the dog. All right, let's get into these lawsuits. So, I mean, all right, at the end of the day, and we forgot to say one more thing about this story. So you had the content creators who were all freaking out and starting to leave and all the rumors and all that crap. But then there were rumors going around with this like death day countdown. Somebody made a website that had like a Dan Savigny with like evil eyes. And then they put a timer on as to when they were going to release the files.
Vulgar CEO is the name of the website.
Okay, Vulgar CEO. And there's like audio, there's like primary sources that document some of his behavior. But one of the big things was that this family who had like $400,000-$500,000 of their nest egg gave it to Dan because they wanted to move onto the ranch. And he said, okay, like this will be your down payment. I'll build you a cottage. And then he just took their money and didn't build the cottage, which is in one of these lawsuits. We'll go over. So the whole thing was like, this was what, 2 weeks ago? And everyone was like, wow, this is really bad now. And the lawsuits are probably coming, which now they have. But the funniest part of that, and maybe we should talk about this, is Nick Cavazos' friend. I think, is he the one who put the website up?
Well, he's the one whose story's on the website.
Okay, so he has a story on the website. And Nick like briefly alludes to this. It's way funnier when you get the real story. So I'll start it, and then Picante, you can finish it. So this guy in his contract, and this is the thing, man. Like, all right, I'm gonna plug my profession here. So for many reasons, one, because you trads need it, and two, maybe I can write StreamYard off on my taxes. The contracts you trads are signing are absolutely ridiculous, or not signing. Like, I think Bug Hall agreed to another ranch idea where he would live on some guy's property. It might have been Bug Hall, or it was someone like Bug Hall. He didn't sign a contract, and then he got booted off the land. And he's like, oh, I should have signed a contract. Yeah, guys, sign a contract and have an attorney review it before you sign it. Because this clown, Nick's friend, signed a contract that literally said he would obey Dan as if Dan was the abbot of a monastery. Was that where you said this is call the cult.
Yes, it's the greatest idea ever.
Yeah, give a
we
layman control over your life.
we used to have a restaurant down the road, and they would ask the manager, what's our tasks, and he would go, whatever I tell you to do. Like, no, that's not how it works. But at Sanctus Ranch, that is how it works. And again, hospitality. So I do laundry, I clean kitchens. Occasionally, I do landscaping. I planted flowers this year, right? It's like whatever needs to be done, and there's always something that needs to be done, you have to do. So if you're busy with beds, you're busy with beds. If you're busy remodeling, you're busy remodeling. That's what Dan was going to do to Nick Cavazos' friend.
Right. But the contract also stipulated that 90% of this individual, this employee, his task would be Gregorian chant or some type of like, I'll put it this way. So I went to school. I went to Ohio State for undergrad. Not a lot of people know this, but Abercrombie and Fitch's HQ is 45 minutes from campus. So like all of these like Abercrombie girls would they were like little vultures, and they would like stalk and like try to find employees to poach for their campus. And this is the only thing I can like relate to Sanctus Ranch, because this is the closest I've ever been to a cult. So I was like, sure, I'll go. Like, they paid over minimum wage. I was like, all right, I'll sign up. Actually, as many people know by now, I just moved homes, and I had to get my 401k to show the lender that I could afford this home. And I've been pretty remiss. I haven't really checked on my 401k in a while. So I'm calling the company, and they're like, well, what company do you work for? And they shut me out of my account because apparently my law firm wasn't checking out. Turns out Abercrombie and Fitch set me up with a 401k back in college. And because I completely forgotten about that, I was getting shit out. So kind of funny, but point is, they were paying good. They gave me a 401k as a college kid to fold laundry. I show up, and there are shirtless dudes throwing the football back and forth across the gate. And I was like, is there some kind of event? They're like, no, we pay them to do that. I'm like, how long? They're like 8 hours. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I mean, like, it's the whole thing. Like, they had the bronzer on, the 6-pack. I'm like, this is creepy. And like, we only burn this type of firewood in our fireplace. I didn't show up the next day. Like, that's why I didn't know I had a 401k with them. So I was employed for one day. Point being is, this is what Dan was going for this guy. He would I don't know, sit on the ranch and Gregorian chant. Probably not shirtless. But he was like this prop. He was supposed to be like this monk prop, like this trad monk. And then Dan basically flipped the script and just worked him to death, give him 90% manual. So he was supposed to do 90% Gregorian chant and 10% manual labor. And Dan was doing the exact opposite with him. They got into a fight about this. And then apparently the guy also has like physical disabilities. So he's like, this is like killing me. Sede P, I'll let you get to the juiciest part though, as to why this went south.
Well, this guy alleges that he and Dan Savigny's daughter were seeing eye to eye about life, and that they had started to develop feelings for each other. And apparently this made everyone in Dan Savigny's family hate him. So not only did he live there for 4 months, he developed a relationship, and then at the end of which he was being a slave labor, and literally every person wanted him out. It's like these. I do actually feel for these incompetent 20-year-olds, because that's been me my whole life, why I live at home currently. It's like, hey man, you're a Catholic, I'm a Catholic, let's be friends. Okay, slave labor. What? Hey, you've got a nice daughter. Okay, we all hate you. Wait. How did it go this way?
Someone said we need to make a rom-com about it.
It would make a fantastic story.
It's a Tropic Thunder fake trailer. The indentured servant who was supposed to be a monk falls for the farmer's daughter in 4 months, dude.
She's like, I heard you singing chant in the chapel.
The movie should be. Oh, I got to get this off the screen. The movie should be Sneaking Around Sanctus Ranch. So yeah, and then apparently, I don't know. Did he ask Dan's permission to marry her or something? But eventually, like, he came out with it, and they revealed it. I don't know if it was for a proposal or just like a hey, we like each other.
Maybe because he's a airhead 20-year-old, he actually did propose. Like maybe he was just like, I'm all in. Hey, let's go out. Let's go further and harder. Because, you know, that's the way you are at that age. And everybody else seems to be that way on Pelican. Hey, let's just close my Substack. I'm moving everything.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe Dan has this talent to just get everyone to believe him. He was a sales marketer originally.
I would have to meet the guy to truly know. I've only seen his videos like from a digital perspective, and I find him to be like very average in convincibility. Like, I mean, well, a lot of it was what you were showing me, which was just, you know, charismatic nonsense. So I don't know. He obviously got a lot of people that I don't consider to be idiots per se, but intelligence is not just, do I read theological manuals? It's, I mean, Anthony Abate was the one who's like, dude, you got to be a little street smart here. Like, if you're like Anthony, who's been a little more street smart, you know, when people are full of shit and scamming you. Whereas if you're all in like the intellectual level, like Dr. K, it actually makes sense to me now that I think about it, why like someone like Klebsinesky would get fooled into this, because he's an academic. Like, it's all about ideas and pies in the sky and studying. It's not at all about dealing with, you know, in the dirt, you know, flesh and blood people. So I honestly, people made fun of Nick for it, but quite honestly, the guy probably made out pretty well. It's a good experience. Better to fail young when you have no assets to lose than to fail late. So I just was like, when he started describing the working conditions, you know, I've had several employers, and I'm like, dude, at no point should you have like not freaked out. Like, none of these working conditions are normal. But it was his first job. What the hell did he know? He made it out better than his friend, dude. His friend. So is the friend still employed at the ranch? I mean, is it just now?
He left.
Okay.
He left November, I think, last year or something.
Hide your daughters. He's after. Oh man, what a dude! Put that in his Tinder profile.
So we'll
work for free. Yeah, the friend is down bad, man. It's kind of funny. Like, he shouldn't be too ashamed. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, so we've given you guys 30 minutes of backstory, the last bit being freaking hilarious. I really, if AI gets good enough that I can make like a fake movie about that.
It is good enough already. You just got to know like the prompts and stuff.
Really?
There are 3-minute AI movies now.
There we go.
In other podcast worlds that are embarrassingly fun.
Tread thunder.
Can you put my screen up?
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the lawsuits.
So this is the first lawsuit.
Okay.
Filed January 23rd.
So if you guys don't know by now, Dan has now, here it is. That's how you say it. Daniel Savigny has been sued individually as well. So the ranch is being sued and he himself. Sorry, go ahead.
This one is monetary relief of over $1 million. The same thing he was asking for a year ago on the end of his article on 1 Peter 5 in April of 2025.
Yep.
Did you have any parts in particular you wanted me to read?
None of this stuff. Really, just the facts.
The facts of the case.
Yeah.
This
goes back a ways. Like, he's been at this.
Yes. So if we remember, the timeline starts in 2016, according to the 1 Peter 5 article. So on or about December 26, 2016, the plaintiff agreed to loan a defendant, Sanctus Ranch, and Savigny individually, money under a promissory note. The defendants promised to pay the principal amount of $195,000 plus 6% interest per annum. A few years later, The plaintiff and defendants amended the promissory note to add an additional amount of $47,000, making the total principal $242,000. The promissory note matured on November 1st, 2023, with all amounts owing to be paid by this date. Now, we were sued for something in my family. We produced documents saying we paid bills for like 6 years. We had to find all these documents. Dan is going to have to go back and show documents from 2016.
Yep.
It took us months to do what we're going to have. We did. And, there's a reason he's not CEO anymore. He's not going to have the time.
No, how many lawsuits have been filed? We have 2 lawsuits for you, but I think Sede P, you said there are 4.
The other one of them seems to be like inactive because someone died.
Okay.
And then the other one was settled out of court at the end of 2024, 2025.
Well, that's where all these people's money went. Lawsuit settlements.
Yeah, so one was actually settled. So that is, I guess, where the money went to.
Yeah.
So the plaintiff and defendants executed 5 other promissory notes for between 2018 and 2019, so prior to COVID, actually start of COVID. Wait, no, it started in
March of 2020.
Yeah, March. Yeah, I was gonna say February, for a total of $525,000 plus interest. So he's got a loan from this one person, 6 different loans.
That's a house pay. That's a mortgage. So let me add a little context here, just in case people aren't speaking legal. Promissory note. It has a couple elements. If you meet all the elements, it's basically a binding contract for a loan. Plaintiff is the person who is suing. Defendant, that's Dan Savigny. Yeah, scroll down to the juicier stuff. So basically, they're just like trying to get their money back because he hasn't paid anything. There you go, right there. End of paragraph 11. To date, defendants have not made any payments. And it's due, right? So it's been due
for 2 years.
Almost a year ago, which, curiously enough, 2025, that's when he was pitching Pelican.
So the last time he got a loan was 6 years before, 6 years, give and take a few months before he started Pelican Plus.
Yeah.
So why would you start a new venture?
Because that's when it's due. This is the theory. The theory, Anthony Abate said this. The theory is that he thinks Dan started Pelican Plus to save the ranch because of this. See, so this was already, he owed $500,000 already before Pelican Plus was even a thought in his head. Then if you go back to when it was due, the loan amount was due with interest. It was August of 2025, which is exactly when he starts pulling all these people in. And to your point, starts asking for, we need $3 million to make up the balance. So he was holding up, very likely he was holding up the bishop persecution as a way to convince people to give some money so he could do this, which is why when all the Pelican investors come in, and by investors, I mean like those poor guys who put $5,000 in, that's why they're not seeing any of their money back. I mean, technically they get the service, but you know what I mean? Like, there's more money that just keeps spinning because he's got at least $500,000 just on this one person. Scroll down a little to 14. Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty bland. It's just saying, okay, he hasn't paid anything. The fraud is where it gets a little bit more interesting.
It's this one.
Yeah, so I won't bore everyone with legalese, but under Texas statute, fraud has 3 elements. The most difficult one to prove is to commit fraud. To meet the definition of fraud, you have to have defrauded a person at the time you made the promise. So if I'm Dan's attorney, what I'm going to argue here is, look, he had all the intentions in the world to pay this back. He just got caught in bad situation and he's trying. So that is going to be a little difficult. Okay. The plaintiffs
Mhm.
are going to have trouble promising that. Now, I would say if you're the attorney, and we're going to get to the plaintiff's attorney here in a second, but if you're the plaintiff's attorney and you ever listen to Catholic content like my show, I would say this, Miss Attorney, go watch Sede Picante's puppet show because he shows a ton of evidence about how this guy was full of shit from the beginning. So that may help you on your element to prove fraud. That's my plug for you. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
let's go ahead. Keep going here.
Well, it's just that one date is really important, the August
Yeah.
15th, 2025, because when we have the retransformation, which starts in 2022, is where I place it. That's because in 2023 they started in elementary school. Why are you starting in elementary school with 5 or 6 loans, some of which are due 4 years ago? What is that about? No alarm bells going off in Dan's head. No one starts in elementary school to make money.
Yeah, it's not good margins, man. I mean, what's next? He's going to start a grocery store with 1% margins. Like this, he needs better business ideas, man. I mean, honestly, to me, what it looks like is that he took the money that he borrowed in 2016 and started using it for other ventures. But who knows? I mean, that would have been 7 years later. He probably already lost that money.
So the defendants allege, the other one.
Dan offers,
Yeah,
to pay in 1 year.
So no, the plaintiff alleges, the defendant said. So the Dan Savigny's big idea was to build a real estate asset, since real estate is really popular in Texas right now. And then that was the anchor for everything. So his bargaining chip is this asset. Then when we get to the next lawsuit where he's taking money from the O'Mahonys to build this asset, that then they're like, hey, we get to live at the asset, right? And it's like, get in line. This guy doesn't have an actual escape plan. He needs to make escape velocity. And the big thing that really gave it away was his $5,000 founder's member, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a second one. It was $1,600. $1,600 amounts to 4.8 years worth of time on the Pelican Plus network. Afterwards, you get it for free for the rest of your life.
Whoa, wait. Say that again.
He had a program that was you could get pay one chunk of money and then it's free the rest of your life. That was for $1,600, which amounts to less than 5 years. In other words, it was another bad business plan that he needed money now, and we'll just take care of the problem later in the future. This is like a podcaster. There's one I follow for the lulz, who's promised if you give him $200, you get whatever merch he makes in the future forever. And for the first year, that's going to be fantastically successful. For every year afterwards, this doesn't work. So in other words, he has no intention of actually keeping the promise, is the point. And that's why I think that this is actually a really good case to be made against Dan Savigny, that he is actually just simply trying to use the equity in Sanctus Ranch. That's why he keeps offering it to everyone. And remember Abate? He said he offered it to Abate.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Equity?
They offered everyone equity in the company. So he was going to try and get the company to get the debts, and then he loses the company to all the people of equity. This is the master plan, I think.
God. I mean, it's
I think
it's going to come out in Discovery, man. So if Picante is like half an Esquire because his family got sued. Like, look, you go through one of these, you pretty
one
much
lawsuit ruined my family's life for a whole year.
Yeah, these are not fun. Dan's not having a good day. But what happens is, like, this is all right. So this is going to hit. I mean, it's already hit. Dan's been served, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So then Dan's going to get an attorney who's going to respond to all this and make it sound completely different. Okay, so you've got two sides. Then what the courts do, and America's insane at this, the courts basically say anything that's not, conversations with your attorney privately, you have to turn over everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to find out a lot of stuff. That's why, typically people don't like to get involved in lawsuits, because your whole life just opens up to the world, and this will be public.
Yeah. So in my family's lawsuit, they alleged an event happened, and they asked us for all records of all people who were at this event that never happened. And we sent back, we said, this event never happened. And then they just kept going on. And we were scratching our heads like, wait, you can just say something happened, make up a story, and then you get sued over it. Like, that's insane. But unfortunately for Dan Savigny, he's left a paper trail of not building very much human capital with people.
No. So let's okay, so this is suit number 2.
This is suit number 2.
Suit number 2 is more interesting in my opinion. And then we're going to get to the plaintiff's attorney, because she is hilarious. And by the way, the first thing I can tell if something's a good legal document is its length. So Sede P sent this to me, and this is only like 8 pages. Like, I'm a little worried the plaintiffs have a bad attorney. Like, this should be a lot longer. This should be 20 pages of allegations. And, yeah.
So it'd be like the one we got that was like 30 pages long?
Yes.
Like, here's 30 pages of homework to do. Pull your hair out. So this one was filed on the last day of March.
Okay.
Which is, I mean, I guess this has been out of the bag for a while now.
So has this been filed? Was this filed after the first one?
Yeah, the first one was filed in January.
And they're using the same. They're using the same attorney. So these people are talking to each other. Like, people are pissed.
Yeah, which is fantastic for the sake of the story, because you see, now there's momentum. There's multiple cases from multiple people. There's 3 parties here. There's Deborah Zabrinsky and Lindsay Mason. Then the big one is actually the first name.
The Mahoney. Very interesting. All right, let's get to the Mahoney.
Mahoney. Do you want to skip to that?
Yeah, because the other ones, it's the exact same. I mean, this attorney just copy pasted, which is, again, it's not good. Yeah, here we go. The cottage.
Here's back to the case.
You read that. I'm going to get myself another drink because that martini I threw out.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So the O'Mahoneys uprooted their lives to move to Sanctus Ranch and to aid in promoting the message, philosophy, and work that Sanctus Ranch and other defendants were trying to send and do for the community. The O'Mahoneys sold their home in New Jersey with the promise from the defendants that a cottage would be provided for them to live. The O'Mahoneys paid a down payment for the cottage and land, as well as paid an additional amount in order to get the cottage they were living in until their cottage was completed. The defendant never fulfilled the promises and representations made to the O'Mahoneys and wrongfully evicted them after the O'Mahoneys demanded all the money paid to the defendants, whether through notes or other agreements, was returned. Wait, can you just evict people still? I thought this was America. You can't do it in California.
But that's what I knew you were from California. You're like, oh, well, COVID started in February of 2020. I'm like, only for California. The rest of the country didn't freak out just so fast. Yeah, I mean, renters own the courts in California. But look, whether they were evicted rightfully or wrongfully, it doesn't really matter at this point.
Okay,
but. Well, actually, yeah, let's keep going. Then I want to get to the I want to show you guys how screwed Dan is if these are proven. So what? Basically, we got, hey, here's money for a house, and then he didn't perform. He didn't build the house. Like, this is pretty slam dunk, because you're just gonna take a picture of the lot and be like, there's no house. Unless he can get his slave labor boy back.
Mix the cement. Come on, white boy. I've got diabetes. I can't work in the sun.
And he doesn't even have the daughter left to entice him with, because she got married to someone else, right?
Well, he's going to get Murray Rendis to do the work or something? Like, there's no one to work. Also, if you've looked at the actual property of the ranch, it's the worst part of Texas. That ground is white clay. Like, it's not the nice farm ground in northern and western Texas areas of there. Like, Texas is like 4 different countries all rolled into one. It's very strange. All right. So during the transaction, the defendants made a false representation of material fact to the O'Mahonis. The defense told the O'Mahonis that the $105,000 down payment was for 5 acres, known as Lot 90C River Bluff Ranch in
Right.
Bandera
So you're
County,
just going to
Texas.
take a picture of Lot 90C, and there's not going to be a freaking building, and you're going to have a wire record of the money. I mean, this should be summary judgment. Like, try this.
If the O'Mahonis have the documents for all of this stuff, which is why they're alleging it, right? Because their lawyers like, you've given me the documents. Okay, now I'm going to write this down. Unless their lawyers,
yeah, we need to get to the lawyer in a second. I don't know, man. but yes,
I don't know.
Theoretically, this should be summary judgment. There shouldn't be discovery. Shouldn't be a trial. Shouldn't be arbitration. None of that. It should be the judge just looks at the facts, sees the evidence, and says, I am ruling as a matter of law that Dan Savigny is everything.
No, we've got to go to a discovery, okay? We want discovery on this man. I want to see every dollar he's made in the last 10 years.
You should go represent him and be like, listen, I was an Esquire for a show. I can help you. I'll do it for free, and I won't hit on your daughter. Please, Judge, we're ready to go to discovery.
This is a great line. The O'Mahonis have information and belief that the $125,000, an additional sum to the other sums of money, was used for other things, i.e. setting up Savigny's podcast.
Oh, boy.
And not for the purchase of the 5 acres. So Savigny didn't even have the 5 acres, apparently, or the cottages as indicated by the defendants. Like,
he didn't even own the acreage?
I guess. Like,
Dude,
I mean... if you can prove that they spent $125,000 on a podcast studio, wow.
And that's what I don't understand. People like, I have to set up this podcast. All of this costs me like $80 a month with the subscriptions. This is not like expensive. And people will watch. I'm not, look, talk about 2,000 views. This live stream will get 2,000 views. On live streams, even if it's off topic and I'm not ranting about Vatican II, I'll get like 1.7 from my shitty little like Apple built-in. You don't need $100,000 for. I mean, I guess he had to pay the.
No, he had a 3-camera setup with 5 microphones and 5 chairs and a soundboard, right, and a room that he didn't know how to light properly because it was all filled with windows.
Daryl, it's neat, by the way. But thank you for noticing.
Also, that was the first studio. There's a second studio, right? The one with the picture of the Lady of Guadalupe, which also has 5 microphones and I think 4 or 5 cameras too. So, like they went and
podcast journalist here.
They went nuts. So, like, that's actually a realistic amount of number to buy furniture, pictures, set design. That many cameras, that many microphones, replacement cords, sound boxes, things are going into $125,000 for 2 podcasting studios, which is essentially what happened. Like, you could do it cheaper, but they look kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, if you're sure, like if you're if you look at Matt Frad's studio, look, it's I don't like his content. I don't like the company he works for, but it's a damn good looking studio. Like, if you do it right, it can be worth it, I suppose. But
it's so sterile. I hate that studio. It's so artistic and sterile. Please, I prefer.
Yeah.
Which where am I looking? I prefer the Richard Scarry's children book with the Cowboy Sam and Porky, and the Disney books I used to read growing up. Like,
you are one of the more unique ones. I mean, so long as you don't have a bookshelf perfectly manicured behind you, you're right, more unique than most. Let's go down to what they're actually asking. They meaning the plaintiffs. I mean, this is just, I don't think there's anything. Okay, right there, paragraph 35, exemplary damages. And I looked this up in the text code. Exemplary damages, that's punitive. So they are, and I looked it up. If what Dan did meets these standards, he 100% qualifies for punitive damages. Punitive damages are, so the point of a lawsuit, just generally speaking, is you want to restore the injured party and make them whole. Meaning, well, this is a great example. These people lost, let's say, roughly $500,000. And so the court would give them that back, but that won't make them whole because they lost time, they went through stress. So what the court does, this is all American jurisprudence, is they try to get the plaintiff back as close as possible to the state they were in before they were harmed. Exemplary damages or punitive damages goes a whole nother level. It basically is something that the legislator has crafted that says in particular offenses, they are so egregious that we as the government will then punish you by taking more of your money, not to make the plaintiff whole, but to basically say it's a financial spanking. Like you've been a bad boy. Like you need to pay even more money. Now, look, they're also going for attorney's fees. Now that makes sense because if you want to make me whole and I've been injured and I had to spend because they're spending money right now on attorney's fees. Okay, Dan also has to pay that because if it wasn't for Dan's actions, they wouldn't have had to hire an attorney. So Dan's going to have to pay his attorney. He's going to have to pay their attorneys. I mean, I don't know how many podcasts this guy's got stuffed up his butt, but he's going to have to pull more out.
Do you think that Dan might not pay himself out of the corporation, though, so that he can't be sued for anything?
Well, okay, so I should say this. Again, I've already said this isn't legal advice.
Let me just say that because I've looked at his 490 form. I mean, his 990 form.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1 year, he paid his wife $80,000 and himself $16,000
or 16,000?
Oh, 16 grand.
Okay, that's
so he's making poverty wage area wages, and his wife was making a good chunk of money. So, like, I got to wonder if this guy's already figured out a plan, and he's been doing this for 5 or 6 years where
So I'll say this, and this, again, none of this is legal advice. So I don't litigate a lot. So if anybody's like, oh, I know it's not legal advice, but I'd still like to learn something. I'm not an expert on litigation. I know enough to be dangerous, and I litigate a little. I am most certainly not a corporate attorney. I don't understand corporate law because I don't practice corporate law. So now because I know your family has a business, you're probably more of an expert at this point, and you've been through a lawsuit. You're more of an expert on corporate law. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm just trying to give people some color here. Point being is, but I do know this, like if you're an SOB, the courts will let you breach the corporate veil. What that means is, so you can sue the company, and they're suing the company and Dan individually. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to breach the corporate veil, meaning like if I'm the CEO of Amazon, if I'm Jeff Bezos, back when he was CEO, Amazon, he is not going to lose money because somebody sued Amazon. Amazon as the corporation will lose money if they lose a lawsuit. Unless something really egregious, I don't know, like this happens, then you can take all the money from the corporation and you can go after someone's personal finances. I think that's that standard. But Sede P, you've been through a lawsuit.
No, I think you're right because it identifies.
Yeah.
Danielle Savigny, Sanctus Ranch LLC, Restoring the Christian Initiative Culture, formerly Spiritual Retreat Foundation. So this is why I think they want to go to Discovery as well, and why they're going to push for that anyway. Because they're suing 16 years of a corporation. I mean, not 16, 10 years, going back to 2016. That's going to be hell. If Dan Savigny can't find $2-3 million suddenly by the next week, he's going to be in trouble.
Nima Higlek, dude, what kind of name are you using? All right, this picture of this wolf is asking me why Kwasniewski and Ferrara haven't bailed yet. Probably because Dan has them chained up in the basement so he can pay his legal fees with their content.
By the way, the only way I knew about this story was someone DM'd a mutual, and then they DM'd me, and then someone DM'd me this Texas lawsuit. This lawsuit was filed in March.
Yeah.
And Sede Picante, the creative journalist, didn't know about it for 6 weeks. Like, I'm late to the story.
Wasn't Stephen Cox an investigative journalist at some point before he became president of Sede Inc.?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He was investigating us, and he's been blackmailing us ever since. But don't let him know.
So Dan's look, I'll say this. I've litigated on the defense side. So all of these things sound really bad as soon as you're sued, because the plaintiff is going to put their best foot forward. Then you read, and Dan will eventually have his lawyer draft up a response. And
they did.
Oh, no way.
It was 1 page of "we deny everything categorically."
Do you have it? Can we look at it?
I'll
give you some time. I'll talk. Well, because that would be so. Typically, okay. So if it's more than 1 page and you're not an idiot, the defense attorney will paint it as like they're making all of this up. Here's more color to it. It's completely not what you think, and so whatever is latest looks more convincing. That's why you have to go to discovery, because people are putting their best foot forward. So when we look at the plaintiff's suit, you shouldn't think, oh, Dan did all these things. Now, we have a lot of circumstantial evidence as people who are in the content space looking at this to say, yeah, they probably did. But my point being is, just reading the first lawsuit, that doesn't get you to the truth usually. Mm-hmm. Usually it's somewhere in between. Because then also, if you look at the defense response, that's not the whole truth either. These are lawyers who are battling it out. And look, it sucks because when I get cases and someone comes to me, you start to see the advantageous part of their story and the disadvantageous. And it never crosses in any good attorney never really crosses your mind whether they did something or didn't, because your job is to just defend them as best you can. If you have knowledge they're lying, you can withdraw ethically. But typically most clients are going to be pretty forthwith with you. Yeah, well, we kind of did this. So, but the point being is, you never push a document like this out with the court that admits to disadvantageous facts. So that's why when you read this, Dan looks like the devil. When you read his response, it's going to look like he looks like an angel. That's where discovery comes in.
You can put me up.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
This is great.
So this is filed May 12th.
Okay.
There you go. That's it.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So he announces.
That's the whole document?
That's all that was on the website.
Dude, they're just used.
Yeah, and this is what he says. The defendants deny each and every and all and singular and material allegations contained in the plaintiff's original petition and demand strict proof thereof. He's buying time.
Yeah, and this probably cost him $500 in legal fees instead of proper. Yeah. Who's their attorney?
Respectfully submitted.
Dan did it himself. Oh, he's got no money, man.
Yeah.
He's got no money. He AI'd this probably, or he's been sued before, so he pulled a template. He's got no money.
There's an identical document for the other one as well.
Pretty much. I mean,
I just looked at the first page and it was practically identical to this one.
I'm kind of rusty on what happens next because I've only sat second chair, so I don't do civil procedure. So we'd always let the associate tell us what's going on. But look.
Well, okay. Who brought more information? Who brought a story? The other one story has this couple that lost everything and that need to be restored, and he's got no. I didn't do it. I mean, you've got to have more than that. Like you can at least.
I mean, the judge will see through that, but I'm trying to think like what the next step is. I think it's motions for summary judgment, which, quite honestly, if I'm the judge, I may grant to at least. All right, we're going to get into the plaintiff's attorney here in a second because I think the plaintiffs need to change attorneys. So this is just if you guys are listening, I know you're not. Let me pop this up on the screen. So When you're an attorney, the first thing you do when you get sued is you research the other side, both the corporation that's suing you or individual and who they're represented by. Now, typically with large firms, you get a general, like I can tell you who the assholes are in the industry just based on their firm. What we're dealing with here, you don't have like firm brand. We're dealing with an individual solo practice. So they can either be really, these come in 2 brands, 3 brands. Boomer sucking everything out, because he had a divorce or 3 and he needs money and he's 70 years old. Don't ever hire those, by the way. Someone who is insanely competent in a niche area and an idiot. That's all you get with solo practice, pretty much. Okay, there's no in between. Most large firms, you're going to get a decent mix of competence and area and specialty. This is a solo practitioner. I'm going to show you guys this. This is the plaintiff's attorney, her website, and I'm going to ask you if you really want to recover $500,000 and attorney's fees and punitive damages. If you want this person representing you. This is her website. Pop this on the screen. There it is.
What?
Let's keep going. It gets worse.
No.
So this is you probably can't see this, but she wrote.
No.
Right on right. Oh no. Okay, so I have a theory as to why they chose her. Okay. I mean, some of this is fine. Like most law firms don't have the best websites,
but you can at least read the text.
Here's her approach, which you have to highlight. It's like lemon juice. You have it's encrypted, old school. Okay, so I was scrolling through. This is just a plugin. It looks sophisticated. By the way, I think these might be fake. These Google reviews, I'm not sure, because the Yelp reviews were all 1 stars. What? Oh yeah. Okay, so she's in San Antonio, but then look here at the bottom, it says Chicago. I'm like, and then look here. Trads are excited. It's Latin.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it. That ain't Spanish.
Is that Spanish?
No, it's not. Okay. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if that's Latin. Have you tried to translate it?
It's Latin, and I'm going to tell you why I know it's Latin. So a lot of people don't know the type of law I do. I do data privacy, cybersecurity. I do a lot of website compliance. Mm-hmm. So I actually wrote the terms of service for Integrity Magazine and their privacy policy. Not the current privacy policy. We're updating it. So I work with a lot of clients who are just building websites. Every new website uses Latin as filler. She didn't update her template. This is a half-baked website. Let me show you how it gets even worse. Where is her? Here, contacts. Laura.
Well, half question.
Sit
what? No.
She's apparently demo@example.com.
No, this person, no. Dan Savigny's running this website too. He's suing himself.
And I'm like, man, maybe the trad plaintiffs just were like, oh, it's a TLM attorney. It's a TLM attorney. No, she doesn't know how to run a website.
No.
Lorem ipsum dolus et emet. It's like a low mass. Oh no.
No.
It's so bad.
We're cooked. Pelican's going to win.
Yeah. Yes. This person got it. Yes. No, wait. Latin is always using templates. Yes.
No. Oh no.
Yeah. Look, I went on Yelp, and there were 4 reviews. All of them were 1 star. This attorney doesn't prepare. She showed up to allegedly showed up to a deposition like not even with her own documents. By the way, depositions are tough. Like if I've gone through a few depositions, you were like I couldn't work the next day because you're just hit with a bus. I mean, it was a 3-day deposition, so I shouldn't say the next day. These are tough things that you have to really prepare for. And allegedly, she didn't even show up with the right documents. I'm begging these people, if you want to be made whole, you're going to have to pay up front for a good attorney. It doesn't have to be top of the line $700 an hour type. A good rate, and this will be sticker shock, a good rate for a competent attorney. Find a mid-sized firm, probably for the partner, it's going to be $500 an hour. Have them farm most of it to the associate, $300, $400 an hour. If you win, you get your attorney's fees paid. Well, here's the thing we have to talk about. If you win against a client that can pay, you'll get your attorney fees back. This is the all right. So this is the problem. They are suing a guy so broke he's made up scams to pay off someone 10 years ago that he scammed. This is a really bad situation for everybody because, like, I want Dan Svigny to be rich and successful so that he can at least make these people whole. He doesn't even have that. So what'll probably happen is some type of bankruptcy, and then it's a pecking order. Like, just because somebody declares bankruptcy, so they'll liquidate all of his assets, they'll sell his car, maybe they'll sell his slaves because apparently he keeps them. And then whoever is, now this is all set by law, whoever is in the pecking order. So sometimes it can be the bank that gave the loan for the ranch will get the money first. Then comes, I don't know, maybe this family. So then the other people are, but then the money's used up. So people will be SOL here. Unless Dan can find another scam that actually doesn't become a scam. Like, Dan needs money. He can't even afford an attorney, which is highly concerning at this point because, look, even if the judge says, okay, I rule in favor of the plaintiffs, I don't think Dan will appeal because he's broke.
Does he know how to appeal?
I don't know how to appeal, dude. Like, I make an associate do it. Like, it's really, like, the legalese of, like, the deadline you have to get to, where you have to file it, the format, it's very complex. I don't want to be Dan right now where I don't have enough money to do these things and to have to somehow AI this. It's going to end up horrible for him. But my prediction is he'll have to declare bankruptcy. He'll sell off all his assets, and it'll just be peanuts in the pecking order. And I don't know enough about bankruptcy law to know who would go first in line. But, I mean, you can just kind of Google that. It'd be under Texas law. So whatever Texas bankruptcy law says gets the first cut. So let's say he's liquidated. He's got $1 million. 500,000 of that, is that going to go to this family who lost their whole home? It depends. It depends on how the lawyer or the legislators in Texas made these laws, probably back in like 1820, back when they literally did have slaves and not just Dan Savigny's indentured servants. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. It would, kind of feel bad for Dan. I feel bad for Dan to the extent that he's going through this, but he made a lot of bad decisions.
How do you get that many loans and then you're just taking this couple for $100,000 this month, $100,000 another month, some other time, $40,000, and it adds up to $430,000?
Well, here's the problem:
is a lot of time.
These aren't conventional loans. They're from like people he manipulates on a spiritual level. That's horrible because that tells me you can't go to the bank because the bank doesn't trust. Look, I don't want money. If I'm going to a bank, I would much rather have a conversation with an atheist. That it's just business. There's no, because when the religious stuff gets mixed in, this is what happens. People can have a false sense of security. You really just want, like I'm talking for like a business venture. I don't want a Catholic to tell me that my business venture is good. I want someone who actually has a bias against me to say, damn, you're making a lot of sense. I can't deny the objective potential in your, I don't know, Sanctus Ranch idea. Because what that means is your idea is so good it's overcoming the bias, or at least the neutrality. You want someone new. You don't want a bunch of yes men in your business venture because they're just going to constantly tell you you've got a great idea. So that's basically what this guy did. If the banks had been involved, and they're just like, look, I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're selling religious items. I don't care if you're selling tires. Make it make sense on paper. And if you can't convince somebody who's a completely neutral and removed party, They're not neutral. They want a return. Like, look, if I'm going to give you the money now, I at least want it back with some of the profit you've made. Otherwise, why would I give you the money? If you can't convince those people, your idea sucks, just on its face. So the fact he couldn't get loans from private investors, dude, you can get investment seed money for any stupid idea these days. The fact he couldn't do that or didn't know how to do it, huge red flag. So what did he turn to? He turned to these poor individuals and basically turned them into his bank.
Well, I'd hate to say it, but if they can get this to go to court, if they can get 12 former employees turn character witnesses against Dan Savigny.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This lawyer just has to be, oh, man, I think we need to go to court, man. I think we need to hear this in front of a jury. Like, what's Dan supposed to say? Hey, Nick, come up. When I was cussing in front of you that first time we met, that was a joke, man. I don't cuss. I never do. Those leaked tapes are fake. It's like, no, everybody knows you.
Yeah. I mean, look, I deal with a lot of clients who range from completely competent to completely incompetent. I just know. I know that what these guys are saying is true because it's not just one or two. Because if you have a disgruntled employee, you have a disgruntled employee. They have a disgruntled workforce. That means there's a systemic problem here. It smells awful. Like I would, because sometimes I get some clients, I'm like, dude, I just really don't want to do business with you. If these plaintiffs came to me and I was a plaintiff's attorney, I would have no problem here. No qualms.
No. Other people are making evidence for you publicly.
Well, that's also the problem, man, is like you hired a bunch of character witnesses. He stabbed himself in the back. You're like, oh, I've got this great idea. I'm going to defraud everybody through a public social media platform. Well, okay,
Plus,
now all the evidence is there. 2,000 views. No, I made money. I swear I'm going to pay him back. You literally celebrate. You can pull in an expert witness. They'll pull in Sede Picante, expert social media Sede Picante, in your professional opinion, does 2,000 views on YouTube warrant a celebration? You'd be like, no.
No, you have to be Taylor Marshall getting 100,000 views. Do you know that nobody else figured this out except for like people like me who watch other podcasts? Like Debate kind of figured it out, but he didn't do it properly. The money's on live shows. If you put out a link to give me money in a live show and I'll read your chat, we'll stop the show and read your chat. People will give you money. Like you can make hundreds of dollars. Nick Rekieta, do you know who that guy is? He's a YouTube lawyer guy. At one point, he's doing it. He's pulling in tens of thousands of dollars per stream.
Yes.
Like, why? It's like, because that person's comment, man, they need to be read. They need to go to the front of the line. I'll give you $10. Just get me to the front of the line. Pius Pelican Plus's platform was to not do the exact opposite. Dan Savigny had no idea what the meta is for content. And Stephen Cox has told me that too. He's like, how are you driving traffic unless 90% of it's free? Because that's the model everyone uses.
Right. Well, that's a great reminder. If anybody I haven't had a single, see, I'm too generous. I read everybody's. I'm not going to put up anybody's comment until you super chat me. I think I've gotten 4. I got my analytics back yesterday. I've gotten 4 super chats total. But yes, if you guys want to put up a super chat, I will read it. Actually, you guys have a lot I have not put up.
Well, there's a lot of the Sede Picante trolls in the chat as well.
Well, I haven't seen a pure, like, do we have a Pope fight breaking out, which is literally what happened.
Oh, can I just say this? Because this really annoys me. So Kevin Davis said, of course I knew Pius Pelican Plus was a grifter thing from day one. I smelt it out. No, you didn't. Nobody knew.
From Berlin? He's kind of far away.
No, we just all assume I'm right. I'm a Sede. Everything I say is true. Everyone who disagrees with me isn't true. They're grifters. If you have the documents, you can say that. If you have evidence, you can say that. That's why we didn't do a show. I was sat on it for like a day or two, and Chris Jackson and I were DMing, and we're like, can I even talk about Vulgar CEO, or will he sue me? We're like, yeah, oh wait, all this is public? Yes, freedom of speech. This is fantastic.
He's also a public figure. Oh, so I should have led with that with my defamation disclaimer. Look, if you defame a private, and first off, defamation. I'm actually really good at defamation suits because in law school they made like 3 years of my life was like you have to learn defamation. We had to mock trial it, so I know defamation inside and out. Defamation is insanely difficult to prove, just in general. It's almost impossible with a public figure. If somebody, and Dan Savigny is a public figure. He is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if he had kept his mouth shut and let his content creators be the public figures, that would be different. But he is not. He is a public figure. You can literally almost say anything you want about Dan Savigny at this point. I mean, you can't make things up you know not to be true. But you and I could posit that Dan Savigny is actually a transvestite right now, and we wouldn't get in trouble. I mean, he could sue because, as your family knows, any idiot can sue, but it'll lose on summary judgment. It'll cost you like a few grand in legal fees, and that's it. That's like he's not going to win that. Okay, I got a lot of super chats. Hello from Baltimore. Love your content, James Delaney. Thanks, James. Ryan loves Novus Ordo. No, I don't, Jim. He keeps trying to get. He says that because most Catholics have had to endure years of the Novus Ordo, I have to go to Novus Ordo boot camp and be re-educated, and I refuse. And then we have JT Groip, who's had some really good comments, but he just left $2. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I don't want to be Dan right now, man. Because and so let me explain for some other people. If you don't respond to a lawsuit within like whatever the statutory timeline is, you just auto lose. So he can't just scam his way out of this at this point, meaning all the money that he doesn't have and he's going to have to somehow find is going to have to go to an attorney, which at this point it's very clear he does not have one. I will tell you this, if you don't have an attorney, not only does it not help your case because you're going to lose on like a procedural thing. It's a lot of it is procedure. It's going to be a bad situation for the plaintiffs too because everything gets messed up, and so the plaintiff has to kind of help the defense. It's the judge is going to lose her mind, so he's digging himself a hole too because you want to keep the judge at least neutral to you. If you start pissing her off, I think it's a woman. If you start pissing her off, she's just going to rule against you.
Well, if you're going to have a human sympathy story like the O'Mahonys, it would be wonderful if he said, no, the agreements were not exactly as stated in. We have documents. We're going to produce them. Their stories are a little tilted. It would be nice because when there's a human story to go with, that's what tends to catch other human beings' eyes. Just not like, he owe money not there. Like,
oh, sorry. James says, I love the Novus Ordo. Okay, James. No one ever.
Okay, tons of troll super chats.
Jim, you would be a really good lawyer for Dan because he needs a BS artist right now.
Yes, I always had millions of dollars, and I would have made Abate a millionaire.
What's the penalty for auto losing? Well, what they claim usually. Like, look, the court. What the judge will do is they'll look like, do you have any evidence that you actually gave him 500 or whatever the money was? And he's like, yes, here's the evidence. Okay, you automatically, I issue this order that you owe this person that money, and if he doesn't have it. Or he, like, let's say he goes into contempt of court and he just says, like, screw you all, I'm not paying. Well, then he goes to jail. But what he'll basically do is he'll be threatened with it first, then he'll go to bankruptcy. This is going to be a multi-year saga, which is great for Sede Picante. He is loving this. He's going to get so much content.
Probably not. It's like I have to buy all the documents now, but you know.
Yeah, there needs to be, man, because they're gonna have to sell this off. I said in my private chat today, which Jim's part of, I said the whole brand is screwed. So they're switching CEOs, but integrity and reputation is huge in this industry. Well, not just this industry, because look, Michael Lofton rebranded himself.
Yeah,
And
he's boring.
I think he's doing fine with the rebrand. So you can rebrand, but the point is if you've been caught doing what this is, and your business model is getting people to trust you, aka your content creators, nobody's going to join this again. I mean, I'm not kidding. Go watch the new CEO's video. I'm pretty sure Dan Savigny is holding the man hostage. It does not look like a comfortable situation. By the way, that's a joke, Dan, and don't come after me. Like, and by the way, guys, I have to say this, and I keep plugging it on Twitter. If you get a contract from a religious guy who owns a ranch, just DM me. Okay, DM me. I'll give you a reduced rate. It will not. I'm telling you, it will cost you pennies on the dollar compared to if you actually sign that, and then you got to pay. Hold on, Amanda L. James Law, lorem
No.
ipsum dollar. She has. I guarantee you, her rate is $500 an hour for this shitty website.
Really? I need to
Maybe
change
lower.
professions.
Maybe lower because she's solo practice, but like, dude, the margin, I would say this: if you're a solo practitioner, you can charge a little lower rates because you don't have a ton of overhead. But the margins don't make sense south of $350 an hour. And to write up even that short 10-pager, that's 10 billable hours. Because you got to do the research, you got to do the case law citations, you've got to talk to the people, you've got to gather the evidence. It's actually probably like 20 hours. Now, discovery, let me tell you this. They're going to docu dump all of Dan's bullshit onto that attorney's desk. It's going to be a file. Old school would have been a desk. Each file that woman reads is a 0.2 billable. So you just open it, you scan it real quick. This doesn't 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. That's how I get my billables up. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. So that's why a lot of people don't want to get to discovery. I know Sede P is like, we got to do discovery. You are going to bleed out in legal fees during discovery. So if you really spend the money on a good attorney that gets you through summary judgment, like if you're the defense or if you're the plaintiff, settle it at summary judgment. I don't care if you have to spend 20, 30 grand on the attorney. They're not 0.2ing you to death during discovery. That's a $250. Sorry, unless that's a $250 super chat, we're not reading this. By the way, for anybody who thinks I'm like being super greedy here, I donate all of my income to the SSPX. So I say that probably every show, just so that people know. And I will publicly release it. It's all sitting in YouTube escrow right now because I haven't updated my tax form. So I have all this money, all $200, sitting in YouTube, and it says that I have to update my taxes, or they will take 40%. All right, so that's pretty much the breakdown. Dan's in trouble. Well, hold on, I have to correct this, even though you didn't super chat me. It's almost worth it for every single adult in America to just go to law school after college. No. Do not do it. Oh, this is what I'll say. If there's any young people in the chat who are actually like legitimately considering law school, only go and focus on a type of law that will make you money. Do not go and try to save the immigrants or get into divorce law. Go business, data privacy, healthcare. Just focus on industries that are making money and go and be that type of lawyer. How is this not a criminal case? It could be a criminal case, but you as an individual can't sue. So there's two types of cases. There's criminal and civil. This is civil because it's brought by an individual. The state, the government of Texas, or supposedly the feds, but they won't. It would have to be like the attorney general from Texas would think that this was worth it.
Dare we hope?
He probably doesn't care. That would be hilarious. Hey, we got Father Geckel in the chat. Hello, Father. Giving to the suspects with the YouTube. I don't know what bitch means. But anyways, don't go to law school. Wait, they were up 50%? Too many people. My point is, too many people go to law school. Like, I wanted to be an attorney since I was 4, and and that never stopped. It's like I knew, but so many people are like, oh, I guess I'll go to law school. Those people end up in horrible debt, chained to a chair because they have to pay off the debt. They basically became Dan Savigny in a law firm, but they got paid. So, it's actually law school is a better career option than Sanctus Ranch. I'll put it that way.
Then weekend hospitality.
Is that what your family does? Because you know a lot about.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I've done it my whole life, literally since I was 7. Like, to me, it doesn't even appear on my brain when I go to work. It's like time out, usually. Unless I really want to edit something. Yeah. Dan Savigny's working 50 weekends a year doing hospitality work. This Pelican thing needs to take off for him.
Yeah, he needs an exit. I was gonna say something. I completely forgot. Dang it. I hate when that happens.
So the recap is essentially Dan started getting loans when he started Sanctus Ranch, when it was under a different name, has never finished paying off any of them, keeps getting more loans, keeps needing more money. We got to find out whether he's got a money problem, a big black hole in his pocket, whether it's his wife, his kids, himself, alcohol, guns, dogs. We don't know. It could be any of these things.
I think it's all of his failed business ventures. I think if he was actually just like overspending, that ship sailed a long time ago. I think now it's 10 years worth of failed business ventures.
I don't know.
Doesn't Taylor Marshall own a ranch? Because he's always posing with the cows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he owns a ranch.
Dan needs to call him because I don't see. I know Taylor, he promotes his books and such, but I think there's better ranchers out there.
It is. It is something, though, to say that it's sad that this happened in our community, the human sympathy story.
Yeah,
but if this comes to light, that's better. That's good for everyone, which is the whole reason I was going to write something up for integrity. It's just like, the more everybody, okay, Dan, it's time to come to the Lord and beg forgiveness. Because like half of the people, or at least those O'Mahoneys, they're like trying to be solid traditional Catholics. I think that's what the impression they were trying to give was. A lot of their employees trying to be Catholic, and then here's Dan Savigny trying to make chattel slavery, apparently, because he's abbot. It's like, what?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is, like, I think in Nick's video, Nick basically lambasted traditional Catholicism. It's like, whoa. And a lot of people are doing that now.
Yeah.
You've got to chill out here. Like, first off, the entire world was traditionally Catholic before the council. So no, that's not the problem. Like, also, this was coming from Mr. Guitar Strummer just 4 years ago. Like, Dan Savigny he's a grifter. He found something that was growing, which is traditionalism. And look, we all need to be aware of this, guys. Like, this is because it's all over the news. And when something's in the news, people start, looking to make a buck. And they're realizing that traditional Catholicism is on the rise. There's a reason that Dan made the switch from Novus Ordo Charismatic to Traditionalist, which is what my channel mostly focuses on, is that the statistics show anyone who practices in a traditional manner grows. Yeah, let's see. Ranch is a euphemism. Sorry, wrong comment. Right away. It's actually Irish whiskey, which is close enough. Irish whiskey is like the White Claw of whiskey. Bushmills, apparently Catholic. I really want to remember what I was trying to think, because I thought it was good, a good thing for us to kind of wrap up on, because we're at about an hour and a half. This is what I want to talk about. This is really bad for their brand, which was already suffering because it's all PR in this game. And I mean, how can a person at this point, even if you're just, I don't know how much it costs on a monthly basis. Let's say it's $15, nothing to break the bank. What is the taste in your mouth to consume that content? Because I think that was something Nick also said. He's like, yeah, go check out Pelican Plus. Separate Dan from the art. I mean, I don't do that with Rupnik. Well, his art's shit anyways. But from what I hear, I've never seen a single Pelican Plus video, but from what I hear, it seems like they can't even figure the camera out. So Bushmills is not is it really? Well, then someone lied to me on Twitter. I'll sue them for fraud.
Yay. As long as I'm not getting sued, lawsuits are good.
Did your family make it out okay on that?
Yeah, we had set everything up so they couldn't have gotten anything anyway. It was actually a clerical error that caused the entire event. But my dad did get a deposition, and I've read the transcript, 80 pages of him being talked to, and like you're just like, wow, I didn't know all this about my dad. I wish everyone would get a deposition so I could figure out who they are. Because he's having to recall events that happened in like 91. Like, it's all over the place. And he's just like, well, this happened and this name. And like, I remember that name growing up. Oh. No. If this gets to that case, Dan is going to be toast.
I would love to depose Dan.
Dude, this would be fantastic.
So, hold on. I need to figure out if I'm drinking Protestant. Because I don't. Everyone says Jameson is Catholic, and I don't like the way Jameson tastes. All right, AI says it's a popular cultural myth. I'm gonna need to do more research, but I'm getting mixed reviews on this. Guinness is Protestant, though, that I know. So this is something I think people would enjoy. This is how I prep clients for depositions if they're being deposed. We'll do a little trial here. Okay, Sede P, you're my client. I'm trying to get you ready for deposition. If you're going to be deposed, I'm going to give you a sample question, and I want to see how you respond. Okay, ready? Sede P, what time is it?
It is 7:10.
No.
It is 7.
So if I ever ask you, if I ever depose you, and I say, all right, we'll try it again. Sede P, do you know what time it is?
Yes, it's 7:10 p.m. I don't know.
No, wrong again. This is what you said. Someone says you're in a deposition. They ask you, you're being deposed, and they say, "Do you know what time it is?" You say this. Yes. That's it. You divulge as little information as possible.
I hate you all. I understand it when I see it on paper. I understand when I think about it, analyzing it.
Yeah.
This is actually what I do in my show is I analyze statements like, wait, no, what you just said has these consequences. But when it's given to me, the kid in me comes out. I have no control whatsoever.
No, I mean all of my clients fail that initial test because it seems like the implication is clearly you want to know. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing in depositions is you get like I know when I'm deposing someone if somebody is really well prepared because they start getting like really quirky like that. They get really guarded. They get cagey. But then you get the next person and they're just all over the place, and you see their lawyer sweating it. Can we take a break? No. By the way, if anybody watches Suits, those depositions are so inaccurate. They last 10 seconds. They're like, this deposition's over. But you can't just claim the deposition's over. I also don't necessarily recommend that show. It's highly vulgar, but Bushmills is from Belfast. You Woolly Gawker Protestant. All right, somebody lied to me. Somebody on Twitter lied to me. That shit. It's kind of good. It's better than Jameson. No whiskey's fully Protestant. Too much Catholic DNA. Jameson is the Republican drink. Guinness is loyalist. Nobody knows what they're talking about in the chat. All right, if you don't put money behind your opinion, I don't trust it.
Here we go. The LawTube show with TLM Ryan.
Sede P, do you have a whiskey recommendation as we wrap up?
No, I drink whatever my little brother and my youngest brother, he makes all the drinks, and I usually just drink whatever he gives me.
Do you have a preference?
Or I go and open up the cabinet and I just take something out. I drink White Russians, and that's about it. Or,
Okay.
or Irish coffee. Those are the only two things I actually know how to make.
Guinness for me. This is the only female Sede Picante I know.
Really? I know a bunch.
Probably in person. Christine's very nice.
Oh yeah, she's very nice.
There was a joke going around that.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, I was crashing out about that because of.
Do you want to end the last 20 minutes talking about what the hell is going on Twitter recently? Because yes, okay, this is accurate. Chartreuse is made by monks. It's very difficult to find because after COVID with everybody staying home got people into cocktails. And the Chartreusian monks do not meet demand because they're not a business. So they said, no, we are not just going to stop praying to make you guys more alcohol. So the demand went up and the supply stayed the same. It's a 1 bottle per customer limit still 5 years after COVID at my local liquor store. But you can make a prohibition drink called the Last Word. Typically you have 2 drinks, you're still good to drive. 2 sips of that, 2 sips of the Last Word, and you can no longer drive. But it's excellent, and you need to use green chartreuse. But okay, so what is going on? I mean, it's so exhausting at this point. Have we seen any if people don't know, Sede P and I pretty much live on Twitter for our content ideas, if you will. Well, I do. You watch people's shows, which I suppose is your penance. Twitter has, I think, since Leo, just evolved in our circles, in the trad circles, people who are, sympathetic to pre-conciliar practices, at least. It's just been all-out war with what I call Sede Inc. and Trad Inc. Sedes and trads. And it got really bad about a month ago. I made a video on it. You reviewed it. I listened to it. Good video. And I thought, okay, people just got exhausted, so they finally stopped squawking at each other. And you had your typical, suspects: Anthony Abate, Chris Jackson, Stephen Cox, Matt Gaspers. Those are the 4 horsemen at this point, I think. But everybody else got talked about. Kevin Davis was like, "I am tired, and I'm going to stop."
Oh, he crashes out every 2 months. He can't handle it. He gets up, and then it just drops off.
He's like, I'm gonna go back being nice. I could tell, dude. Father Geckel was in the thick of it, and he just dropped off the face of the earth. I think I talked to him, and he's got a bunch of stuff going on in his with his priesthood, but I think he's in the chat. I'd venture to guess he just got sick of it all. So, anyways, and I worked hard because and I had a video basically quasi calling for peace, not on the differences, but just guys, shut up. It reminded me of Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro when you could tell there was tension because they were subtweeting each other all the time. And then Candace was like, "You're an absolute psychopath. Everybody in the office is walking on eggshells around you." And I'm like, oh shit. Now the drama's spilling out. And it's exactly what's been going on here. And it's every week people are like, "All right, we've made peace." And then someone puts a tweet out and they all start fighting at each other again. It's like dogs fighting over food. What's your take on this? What the hell is going on? Because I'm honestly getting to the point, it used to be entertaining, and I'm just my head hurts. I can't even, I've turned off Twitter, which I've never done, for a whole day yesterday, pretty much.
Yeah, this is usually my no Twitter day. Or else Saturdays. No, it's no Saturdays. I try to play video games on Saturday. So there's a bunch of things, and that is, first off, you have the terminally online people. There's some cities who just literally terminally online just nagging. Oh my goodness, the nagging never stops.
Well, it's not
Then you
just
have
that. I was also thinking like this behavior is literally nagging like women.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
these
but
all trads, Sedes, non-trad, they'll be like, women need to respect the man and stop nagging. I'm like, you guys have talked about dude. Who's the feminist guy?
Wagner.
No. The angry one who's always yelling at at Jay Dyer. He was friends with Taylor Marshall for a while.
Oh, Timothy Gordon.
Timothy Gordon talks about women so much he's starting to PMS like one.
Yes.
Sorry, I interrupted your stream of.
No, but that's the same thing. It's the people, they have the one line that they parrot and they say it, and then they just keep saying it, and it should be done saying, and they just keep saying it. They've ran out of content. They just keep repeating themselves. I've said this about most streamers. The reason I don't do a show where I talk is because I become self-conscious. I've said the same thing. I purposely forget every single show I do, so I don't remember the jokes, so I don't reuse the jokes, because I will hear my own jokes in my head again. Like Crisco and Salsa is not happening again, because Crisco was the joke. The guy's actual name is Salsa, so that's going to always happen. But like, I can't do that all the time. But on Twitter, no, people don't. They don't act that way. Like especially Abate, he's extroverted. So every time he sees the notification going on, he's like, ha ha ha. So like, get sucked into it.
He drives a lot of this. Like, I don't think people understand how much of a troll he is. And I mean, that's part of trolling, is you got to convince people you're serious. He literally called for like a Godfather type piece with all of these warring factions, quote tweeted himself, and baited Sedes again. I'm like, you guys, like, you gotta figure out what he's doing.
It's so funny. And then I thought, because that tweet, I thought about it, and I was like, oh, like, yes, retarded. Okay, Dom, we're done here. And I was like, wait, no, that's actually a brilliant tweet. Because if we got those 8 people, that would be the worst show ever.
Well, good and bad. I don't know how it would go.
It would be horrible, because like half of them have nothing in common to talk about. They're just toxic to each other.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I had a show with a urine review with Pope Leo, and I had Matt Gaspers on, and
I lost my mind.
Somebody dared me to put Chris Jackson on. I'm like, dude, I should do a Parent Trap. And see if I could live stream it fast enough before someone drops off the stream, and just. But like, I don't see anybody's opinion being changed, and I think it's just ruining. Well, I don't. You have a different take, obviously, because you enjoy and get a ton of content out of it. I'm like, my head hurts reading.
Well, there is an actual problem with the inks, and so the definition of an ink is anyone who proposes content but refuses to platform aid the opposite side or engage in dialogue with them. Essentially, that's it. So, like Kevin Davis is an ink because he actually has CMRI priests who tell him what he can and can't do. Right? We're not complaining that it's good or bad. It's just a fact. Sede Picante.
It's more manicured.
Yeah. Sede Picante can do literally anything he wants. He doesn't because he has parents. That's the only thing that really bothers. My dad watches my show recently. So and then I get DMs from Meaning of Chicken if I go too far. Other than that, no one cares what I do. So you get different people that they only do some content, and then we all react to those people, and they do the same exact content next week, and then we all react to them again, and it's really confusing because they're not talking to us and we're not talking to them, but we're literally talking to each other.
It's subtweets. It's subtubing.
Yeah.
It's super passive aggressive. I've talked to people on both sides and told them all to cut it out. And they're like, oh yeah, you're right. And then like the next day they're like, Stephen Cox is a bad actor. They're like, Matt Gaspers is using personal insults. And we're grown adults here, guys. Like, this is getting ridiculous. It's very fascinating. I just I do think that they'll either all get tired out or people will stop.
No. It's a video game and you're the game. You don't get tired out. It's a gotcha game. Twitter is literally a gotcha game with little Asian girls, but you're the Asian girls. You just haven't figured it out yet.
Hey, Anthony's in the chat. He must have just finished up his what is Celicast? I hear you
It's an
guys
inside joke. It's an inside joke.
Yeah, okay, that's what I figured.
It's someone else. So when I left, I rage quit the internet. They made Sailorcast to tease me to coming back, which made me rage out on Sailorcast. And then afterwards, it became a stream of raging out, and then it became a stream of annoying me. And then, like, I then subverted them now, and then they lost interest, and now it's sometimes it just is a joke at this point. It's a running gag that doesn't exist, I guess.
Okay. I figured because every time I watch your show, they're talking about it.
Yes.
Yeah, Anthony definitely figured out the Twitter game.
Yeah.
But the Sedes...
No, the Sedes have no idea. Okay, so have you ever gone to a traditionalist parish? You see the same stereotypes. They're all there in every single one. Like the mom with 9 kids in a 15-passenger van.
Okay.
Right? You know who that person is without ever having talked to them. They all say the same exact thing. Moms with 9 kids always have big personalities. You can just go up and get adopted. You just go talk to the mom. She'll talk to you. It's the funniest thing ever. I literally went to Texas last year and did that. I just saw the person. Okay, hi. Hey, is this where all the refugees from that false religion of Vatican II hang out? And she's like, yes. She took her a while to process why I was talking to her. But she's like, yes. And like, come on, kids, let's go to church. Don't pay attention to this weird adult. But that person exists everywhere. So then, like, when you're on the internet, the same kinds of things exist. I don't know why, but...
Right. So that's how Abate can get them all, because he's figured the algorithm out.
Yeah.
Well, so it's funny because Anthony, one of his shows, I don't watch every show, but when I can, I watch a lot of AB, and he talked about how he was, this was like a year ago, he was experimenting with the Twitter algorithm, and he figured out that a tweet an hour was the right rate of tweeting. So I started following that just because, like, if I'm going to put something out publicly, I don't want to get buried. But I think I've figured out, just watching Anthony, that that's not true anymore. I think the algorithm has changed because he'll tweet like every 30 minutes or something. It's not like cadenced or anything, but it's definitely more than once an hour. And I started noticing that too. Like if I tweet about Red Dead Redemption, which I've done like twice in my life, Twitter will just promote it to everybody. So it's more about like what you're stirring up.
Yeah, and it alerts all of the channels that follow those keywords. So I did a test one day. I put out a right-wing tweet and then a left-wing tweet. The right-wing tweet got like 8 replies. The left-wing tweet got 0. I was like, oh, so Twitter knows my audience is primarily right-wing. So it just automatically isn't going to boost the other one.
Interesting. So this was creepy. And I mean, I'm in data privacy, so I know this happens, but it's still creepy. I had a high school friend of mine. She's Catholic, and she shared with me Wes Huff's like 6 reasons I'm not Catholic on a private group chat. And then my Twitter feed 5 minutes later was feeding me Wes Huff. And you can see it today. I responded to Wes Huff and basically told him he was an idiot. And I was like, and then everything, because my entire timeline has been freaking Matt Gasper's set of it. That's all it is. Obviously I can do the toggle between For You and who I'm following, but the whole For You is always better because it keeps you addicted. That's the point for it.
No, it's horrible. Oh.
And it was all Anthony and Matt Gaspers, and then Stephen Cox would join it, and then Chris Jackson would be like, let me give you 10 pages of text. Like, dude, Chris.
So I showed my DMs once to Phil Gonzalez, and it was like 25 texts from Chris Jackson, and like me responding with emojis. This is one day.
Chris Jackson will literally DM me his latest tweet that he thinks is so great, so that I don't know what he wants me to do. He is such a boomer. It is hilarious. I love it. It's hilarious, but I'm like, Chris,
it's more fun than the rest of Twitter.
He doesn't. I can tell. Taylor Marshall's the same. Taylor Marshall does not understand like internet humor that us youngsters like know. Like I know if I want somebody to understand that I'm trolling you and I'm not like being a dick, I do an LOL or a smile, like a laughing face. The boomers don't understand it, so like they'll think I'm being an asshole. I'm like, dude, I said LOL. Hello, like all the Zoomers understand. Like he's trolling. He's being funny. And so Chris Jackson will take a tweet of mine that I clearly meant as humorous, and he writes me like 6 paragraphs. It's like, Sede Inc. is being passive. They need to be more active. Stephen Cox is not responding to the controversy. I'm like, bro, it was a meme. Like,
so Chris Jackson decides it's his personal mission to make other people talk to each other, and then does all the talking. It's the greatest thing ever. And I'm sitting here with my feed completely filled with the bate and just being like, should I DM every single Sede and say, stop responding to them, or should I mute every single Sede? Because I don't follow Abate. I don't want to go to war with him. I respect him as a human being enough to never want to talk to him ever again. I see nothing but him every single day. And then you get, I had a priest, an SSPX resistance priest being like, dude, I was loving you responding to Abate. It's like, oh, great. Thanks. You too. Like,
Elon Musk is just conning all of us right now and making us fight.
No. It's all like
Anthony, this is the last. Anthony joined a little late, but Sede P told me how to make money, which is actually, Anthony, what you said is you charge people for super chats. And so this is your last freebie, Anthony. You're gonna have to super chat me if you want me to read again. But Sede P, he wants to send you a message. I'm like the arbitrator here. I put you in separate rooms. I do data privacy, cybersecurity, and oddly enough, healthcare. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm getting tired of it. It's kind of funny because a lot of these content creators who are self-conscious like you understand. Like Anthony openly talks about it. He'll say, like, "Look, we've got to change it up. We can't just keep talking about Vatican II, or we can't just keep talking about the JQ." The ones who are self-conscious.
Thank God for that.
I think. Well, I mean, what else can you say? Like, it's been said a million times, but I'm hoping that eventually the Twitter sphere will just get tired of it and the algorithm will stop. I'm fine with having the discussion. I'd actually love to have an actual debate. I've seen them. They're, but I don't know. Do we think that any Sede Picante has become R&R, or any R&R has become Sede Picante?
Oh, I know of one to have.
Well,
I know
over,
runs both directions.
Over Twitter wars, really?
No, Leo.
Oh yeah, of course, Leo. But I was just wondering. Oh, thank you, Ant. He's a top spender today.
I literally stopped sending them money because they wouldn't read my super chips, and I was going to send them a real nasty one. And I stopped reading them. I was like, no, you have to read my super tip. Oh, Anthony bought me for $9.99. I'll gladly super chat. I'm not cheap, like AB fans. Thank you, Anthony.
What happens if you invert 999?
It's 67.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping that the trad wars will die down. I'm fine with trad wars, but it's just been too much lately, and so I hope.
Yeah.
I know it's not YouTube. People aren't, except me, talking about it on YouTube. I'm talking about it, about how we should stop talking about it.
Well, part of the problem has been, like, there's a certain amount of dishonesty on both sides, like this thesis clergy not answering objections, or just random people giving their personal interpretations of theology. Like, I don't do theology. I'm a philosopher. I take your idea and I try to see where it leads me logically. I'm not doing like, yes, and then Robert Bellarmine commented on this in the third book of the second part of the third part and said, like, I'm not doing that. That's what actual theologians do. And like, no one does it. They just like, I read it and that's it. Like,
I don't understand. There was a moment, I forget what debate it was. I think it might have been Matt Gaspers and Father Geckel, but and it might not have been. So I'm not trying to bring that up, but it was Sede Picante and R&R, and they were like, "Well, this saint said in his diary." I'm like, guys, you are so losing the plot at this point. Like, we want to talk about infallibility, and they're like, well, this saint once said in a private diary that might not have been approved by the bishop, but I'm going to rest my entire argument on this. And I'm like, do you understand how you guys sound to each other? This was both the Sede and the R&R were doing this. I'm like,
I know we did the same thing to Chris Jackson when he was on my show. They were like, well, this is how I understand it. And it's like, I just told Chris Jackson it's a mystery.
I mean,
Because that seems to be the correct answer. Hey, what's the problem in the church? Oh, the church is the hierarchy and the faith seem to have split into two separate entities. How do we solve this?
that's why. So a lot of people, actually, I'll say this because you're here, and I watch your show. And by the way, I know you insult me, but you have my permission to do it because 1, you're funny. 2, it's what you need for your content. And 3, I don't take it personally. That's the other thing. These Twitter wars are going on because everybody's acting like little girls. Do you know how many Sede Picantists say the most terrible things about me? I saw you announced it, and someone's like, "You're going on with that idiot." I think it was Phil Gonzalez.
He's not Sede. He's Nova Sordo.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's weird. I can never tell the difference. I have to go to your bio first because they make the same arguments. You have to submit to the Pope in everything he freaking
No,
says.
he just hates everybody, and he does a show with me once a week on Progressive Rock.
Interesting. Okay, so I thought but my point is, I think I was on Steven's show. I was on Steven's shows, and Anthony Abate had given me a tequila recommendation, and I thought, well, it's Steven's show, and it's just going to be friendly. So I'm like 3 tequilas deep, and they're like, Ryan, let's formally debate Sede Picante. And the arrogance in me was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Even though as soon as I started engaging, I was like, this is a mistake. I was like, dude, I did like one Google search this morning, and I was getting eviscerated in the chat, not from like a theological standpoint, but they were just like, it was getting pretty bad. And I was getting angry. I didn't show it, but I was getting angry. And then something flipped in my brain. I was just like, why don't you just laugh at this? Like, they were taking it so freaking serious. And that's what a lot of people need to do online, man. Like, you guys got to chill. Chris Jackson, Mac Aspers, Stephen Cox, like, relax a little. You can have really deep arguments. But there's got to be a chill switch, man. Like, and that's like, I don't care when I watch your show and you say that TLM Ryan's an idiot because I just don't give a shit.
I literally say about everyone who's not a priest, and except for Taylor Marshall.
Well, that's what you have to understand too. Is 1, why do you give a shit what some YouTuber or Twitter troll says about you? Also, I can tell the ones. Oh, it's not. I'm going to make a gross generalization here. I think the ones that aren't married tend to take it like a little too personally what someone says about them on Twitter. If you're married, it doesn't matter if you have the most trad wife. She's going to regress towards her Eve-like nature, and she will nag you on occasion.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Sede Picante online is going to nag me a little bit, like, bro, I've heard it all before. Like, and the same with my mother. My mother's like, no, why don't you take them to a mass? They can understand what's being said every time she visits. So no comment in the chat is going to bother me. So Sede P, I like your work. Keep doing what you're doing. You can make fun of me all you want. I don't really care.
Yeah. And like, I've said absolutely awful things about a lot of people, and they've said absolutely awful things about me too. Like, this is actually just part of the game at this point. That's why the attitude I take is, if it's public, if they're a public character on a show, it's all hands off. You can't dox people. You can't go after private content. Like, I'm not supposed to go after the local show. Taffy's not online, as far as I can tell, so I shouldn't talk about him. But if he's online and replying to me in comments, I'm gonna go after him. It's like there are some boundaries, but at the same time, like, I play with Muppets and I'm single and 38 years old. Like, you don't think that the Avoiding Babylon fans have all called me a homosexual. They all do. They all do. Well, one of them is even posting like semi-explicit content on Twitter. Is like, this is Sede Picante. You're like, yeah.
If you can step into the ring with that dating profile,
I know, right?
You're actually you're more vulnerable. Like, that's the thing, is like, there's tons of content people can make about you. I don't know why they don't.
Because there's nothing to do with this. The show's funny in and of itself. Like, you also have to find what hurts people. Nothing hurts Abate.
No.
Abate wants to be bothered. This is why, if you want to attack Abate, you attack other people. And then he gets mad. And then it just devolves into retarded stuff. And then you get people attacking Bishop Sanborn. And it's like, wait, okay, how do we get to here? I don't know.
I have a few comments before we wrap.
Okay.
What's the algorithm like after 2? I think it's... I mean, I don't really care, honestly. What is mine? The SSPX won't get $5 more. Ryan, I know that Mahoney is, would you like me to react to this? Change lawyers. I'll have a free consult with them. I can't represent them for a variety of reasons. I don't do plaintiff's work, but I would have a free consultation with them about what to look for in a lawyer. Yeah. Feel free to DM me on Twitter. The only thing I would ask is they probably sign an NDA so they don't dox me. I don't want to get like, look, the trad wars are ugly enough. I don't want them coming to my employer. That's the only thing. Yeah, I would be happy to. You should have super chatted that, by the way. Look, if you guys are going to be, I'm going to recommend a lawyer that's going to cost a little bit of money, guys. Like, you need to. What if I had missed that? You need to throw me a super chat. My word, these people. And look,
also,
I'm not going to put up your other. Who's the Texas Baron? Texas Baron. I'm not going to put up your other super cheap comment, but I'm not going to recommend you a Catholic lawyer per se. I know you're asking about this Catholic lawyer. Like, you want like an atheist, like grinder who's like you want Harvey Specter, man. Can we all agree that Anthony Stein is such Anthony Stein? Dude, when Anthony didn't understand the Taffy video about him, Anthony Stein is my George Candace, who's Candace's husband. That's always dodging Anthony. Anthony Stein has agreed to me in writing to join my show. Agreed to, which is great because I really like him. Agreed to an agenda. I told him I'd wake up at 2 a.m. to accommodate his insane schedule. Just because I've always wanted to talk to him and interview him. It's all going to be about him. Like, he doesn't have to, grab his pancreas like he's got cancer every time he talks about Jesuits. You know that. He's like, every time he gets on the stream, he's like, got a new show. No, it's going to be fun. And he won't do it. He's left me on read for like 3 months.
Oh, man.
This will be on the Muppet. If he wants to, I'd gladly have him.
You want the Muppet or me?
We could do both. This is good. I mean, I like this. I don't want to get you in trouble with...
You can't get me in trouble. The only person that gets me in trouble is...
your dad.
Low Florida, low carb, and then my dad.
George Farmer, that's it. Yeah.
No, the bigger issue is just, scheduling, because my shows take 10 hours to prep. On average, currently.
Yeah. That's why
the last one took a lot more than 10 hours.
When I first started, I would record, and then I tried editing once. And I was like, no, I would rather comment in YouTube, hey, I apologize for XYZ, than spend any time. If someone said, would I recommend it? Dude, it doesn't matter. I'll give you, if Pope Francis could win you the lawsuit. This is the naivete, I think, of traditionalists. It's like, they're like, well, what about a Catholic lawyer? No, you're out of the realm here. Christendom's been gone for...
There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
He's here.
By the way, this is another thing, because we all block each other, who we all fight, and there's a good amount of justification for Nick to block me. Completely. We never can get over how much, whether we like each other or not.
Oh, you guys secretly like each other?
No, I have no idea. Because I forget I forget how much I hate everyone after about 3 months.
So you got a goldfish brain?
Yeah. An emotional goldfish brain. This has not helped me in life. I told myself last August I would never talk to Abate ever again.
Here you are. The reason we're on this stream together is because you and I were both commenting on his tweet. Nick, welcome. We actually Picante and I were discussing before the show. I'm like, how cool, because we've already reviewed the lawsuits. You'll have to watch that on the playback. I told Picante, I said, how awesome would it be if Traditional Thomas sent us over his contract that he signed with Dan? I didn't ask. I thought that'd be rude, but now I'll do it in front of 350 live viewers. If you want to send it to me, Picante and I'd do a read down. Sede P needs Goldfish Puppet Show now. I'm pleased with the chat. I'm excited that a bunch of people tuned in that I enjoy interacting with. And we haven't debated whether or not Leo is an anti-pope yet, which we won't do today because that ruins the vibes.
Well, I think there's a different argument, like I used in my last video, that you can avoid the entire question altogether.
All right, let's hear it.
You do get two problems. It's just you can't morally obey. You're just Gnostic on the question, like Chris Jackson. Chris Jackson is Gnostic on the question as to whether he's a pope. He just says, I can't obey evil. I think this is evil. I can't obey it. Yeah. Like, it's not a satisfactory answer, but like, if you're not a theologian, if you're not Matt Gasper's reading, paragraphs of theology.
Matt Gaspers and Chris Jackson are the same person. They don't know it because we've been ragging on Chris, but if you read Matt Gasper's tweets, they're just as long and he hyperlinks his sources. And I'm like, I'm going to do like a 10-minute video on I'm going to touch on my stance on sedevacantism, not in depth like theologian, but how I like practically go about the crisis in the papacy. It'll be good content for you.
Yeah, I need to write up an article for Cox there and just explain how you can define the crisis without taking a position. Because everybody tells me there's a crisis, both sides, every single side. I have no idea what 90% of these people mean by crisis. Like, there's a joke about when your neighbor loses his job, it's a downturn. When his friend loses the job, it's a minor recession. But when you use your job, it's a crisis, right? It's like, well, what's the crisis? Because Ryan Grant has no crisis. As far as Ryan Grant's concerned, his bishop doesn't mind the TLM, so he is a TLM.
Yeah.
I don't know. How can there be an objective state of crisis and one of the commentators has 0?
You said that about Stephen Cox on one of your last shows. You're like, he's got his sacraments, and so maybe that's good enough for him at this point. I'm coming out with a boom roasted Twitter thread of all my friends basically, and I've got a really good one for Stephen. I'll give you guys a sneak peek here. There's the only thing more ambiguous than the Second Vatican Council is Stephen Cox's opinion on sedevacantism. It's like, the council's ambiguous.
Hey guys, I don't know about this council. Seems kind of ambiguous. Yeah. So back to this quote about Ratzinger. He doesn't seem to like the syllabus verse very much. Yeah.
Steve and I talk a lot. We're friends, so I have to disclaim that because again, like every time like you make fun of someone, especially not that Steven's a boomer, but especially with like, dude, Taylor Marshall got in my mentions once and was like arguing with me on statistics. I'm like, bro, Taylor, like I gotta call like the boomers. You have to just like calm them down. Like, listen, I'm not. So anytime I insult people, I'm not actually trying to pick a fight. And if you're older than 40 and you don't understand that a laughing emoji means I'm screwing with you and I'm not being serious, like this is PSA right now. But yeah, I'm going to go after Steven. I had a really good one for Anthony Abate. What was it? Oh yeah, he does like 20 episodes on the JQ and then he charges $5 $5 per group. I've got good ones, man. Like I've been thinking on it. So yeah, I'm gonna do a whole roast tweet thread coming up. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. It's thanks to everyone for joining. We got 350 live viewers. And we got Nick in the house. We had Abate. We had Father Geckel. The celebs showed up. Nick, if you're still watching, man, and you want to send me that contract, we'll do it. We got to do a legal review of the contracts that the trads are signing. Although I think his contract was fine from what I read. And actually, I think Dan got tripped up on it. It's whatever his Nick's friend.
I know.
Dan's next contract for his indentured servants will be: you are not allowed to talk to any daughters in this house.
The women of this house are off limits, including my wife. That poor woman.
Get off.
There's like the actual victim is his poor wife.
Yeah, his family, man. Yes. Yeah. All right, guys, this has been great. Thanks for tuning in. I think the content we may do some more, but I'll talk to him in the green room, see if he's open to that. Nobody tells him what to do. Thank you all for tuning in. Until my next broadcast, Godspeed.